What exactly is ERP?
ERP actually refers to Enterprise Resource Planning. It's actually a combination of multiple systems.
I'm sure there are many new age entrepreneurs who kind of think, okay, I want to achieve an X amount of financial independence, financial freedom.
There could be, guys who say at the age of 45, I hit 10 crores and I'm done. But what is the guarantee that you stay another 55 years and that 10 crore is not going to be enough?
A lot of the times this happens that people overhire. Why does this happen?
The main reason is enthusiasm, probably over enthusiasm.
Okay. Welcome to BEU Podcast powered by Caliac Studios. Today we are honored to host CA S.V Rao, sir, the esteemed founder of FIMAS Advisory Services LLP. With over 33 years of rich experience as a chartered and cost accountant, SV Rao sir has guided numerous blue chip companies and now masterfully helps the SME and MSME segments optimize their 5 M's: men, material, machinery, market, and money. Known for his contributions to ISO and Deming Awards and expertise in ERP implementation, he is the go-to expert for establishing robust financial and technological foundations for sustainable business growth. SV Rao sir, it's an absolute privilege to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So before we begin, I would like to start the podcast with a quick rapid fire or an icebreaker so that, we just ease into the conversation. First of all, how are you, sir?
All good.
All good?
Yeah.
Okay. So if your career had a financial tagline, what would that be?
Be on top of the facts. Just talk out of your imagination.
Okay. So be factual.
Be factual. And as a businessman, be on top of the data because you must know what your data is by your experience and by your way of working.
What's one common misconception about CAs that people have?
Well, I think people generally associate CAs or cost accountants as number crunchers and they're good at numbers. And of course they are. But that's not the only field they are experts in. They have a great number of other things also. And a lot of great industrialists, great men from various fields of life have, shone in their respective fields. Like Kumaramangalam Birla is one of the leading example. He's a chartered and a cost accountant to boot. Plus, we have Deepak Parekh, we have Nainal Al-Kidwai, we have several others who have gone to become not only the CFOs ahead to CEOs and other top positions in the organizations they have been in.
Wow, nice. So beyond balance sheets, what's a hobby that helps you kind of relax or unwind?
I love music of whatever genre, maybe from classical, Hindustani, Carnatic, and right down to Hindi film music, particularly of the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
The golden era.
Yeah, that what we call as the golden era.
Yes.
But then, that's some very, very comforting thing.
Yes.
In addition, I follow a lot of cricket.
Oh, nice.
As an outdoor sport. I used to play in those days.
Nice.
Yeah, but then as far as indoor sports are concerned, I play carom, I play chess to some extent, although it's supposed to be an intelligent person's game.
Are you following the current series that is going on?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Much.
Cool. So I'll get on to the main body of questions. Thank you so much for joining us today. And with 33 years of experience in blue chip companies, you have seen significant evolution in the financial world. To start, could you share your early career moment that profoundly kind of shaped your approach towards finance?
In the beginning, I don't know if you're aware, many of the current generations may still not be aware, but in the start of my career, we had a lot of manual book writing, bookkeeping kind of thing, and a lot of time and effort wasted, a lot of an army of manpower to
Correct.
do the
Do all
whole
these
thing,
things.
because that was required. Because like in my first company, we had about 17 branches across India, so the data would have to come all the way to Bombay. There was no email in a structured form. There was only some written correspondence and sending it by normal channels. And from there, it evolved into something of a PC kind of thing, which was again a huge leapfrog into the technological world, because
100%.
that gave us exposure to those days Lotus and Word and all those before MS came into play. And once we used to say, wow, it's such a great thing, because when we used to apply the formulas in the cells, and it used to come out, and all the percentages and all that we need came out in whatever form we wanted. So that was an excellent grounding. And slowly we moved on and on until we had a proper system, an ERP to boot, less of number crunching and more of analytics.
What exactly is ERP?
ERP actually refers to enterprise resource planning, and it's actually a combination of multiple systems, and it acts as an umbrella unit for all. Say, for example, we have an ERP like SAP. Even these days, even Tally has grown to be an ERP, but like they carry every single system underneath it, and that completes the entire bookkeeping and accounting. And in fact, in a system like SAP, there is hardly 15 to 20% of the entries that are being passed by the accounts department. Rest of the entries are all spread out across the entire enterprise.
Wow. Okay.
So that's how it is enterprise-wide.
So if you have to explain to the new age entrepreneurs, like probably the second gen, or like people who have just graduated, can you give an example of a usual common industry that an ERP can be used?
ERP actually can be used in multiple industries, and an ERP like SAP can be used practically in every single industry, whether it is manufacturing or service or financials or wherever. Of course, there are certain ERPs which are specific to industries, like fintech companies use their own software because it is tailored to their needs.
Correct.
However, in the case of manufacturing, where inventory and other things are of very high important aspects, the ERP like SAP or Tally plays an important role. So that's actually how it integrates the entire system
together. So it's like a binding element, so to say.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So your work with ISO and Deming Award is quite unique. So how did these quality management frameworks kind of influence your financial processes and their efficiency?
Actually, both the ISO and Deming are hugely process oriented, so that if there is no human beings around, still the process works. So which means that it's less person dependent. Number one. Number two is ISO typically is from the US, and at Mahindra's we had a unique distinction of having an ISO certification only for the accounts department as a service. So that was something which no one had done earlier. And in the automotive sector, it started spreading to other units of the automotive sector. And Deming was typically a Japanese kind of process, which also looked at the entire enterprise as a processing kind of unit. And there it worked wonders, because under the certification of Deming as one of the aids, Mahindra Tractors became the largest tractor manufacturing company in the world.
Wow.
The largest tractor company in the world.
Wow.
So that's something which had this kind of process driven approach, which helped people in knowing what exactly to do and how to go about things.
Nice. So, do you, in your professional work, kind of implement the knowledge that you have gained from there and all of that?
Yeah, in fact, the entire concept of FIMAS was made because it could give more help, and it could give a lot of experiences that we have gathered to the SMEs and MSMEs. So, good question, because that's the basic foundation
Yeah.
of the formation of FIMAS, because that's where we have to put everything we learned into practical implementation.
Yes, nice. As business owners, a lot of times, people consider accounts, MIS, finance, taxations, but we all have to go through all of this. But what, according to you, you consider is the most critical for today's growing SME or MSME, and why?
The entire finance, accounts, MIS, taxation, everything has to be bundled as one single function. None is more important than the other, because you may say, someone may say money is important, so finance is the topmost priority. Even if you accept that, or if there is a cash-rich company which doesn't need money, still the function is important, because once you have money, or if you don't have money, you will run for it. If you have money, you will try to garner it well. But all this without the aid and support of taxation or the compliance part and the accounting part goes waste, because you need to have that as a backbone to make sure that the finance is utilized well and it is recorded well. You still need to present it properly, so that's where the MIS comes into play, where we need to give something which is very important to the business owner rather than every single detail.
Okay, so I want to start from the most basic question. Okay, I start a business. What are the pillars, the foundation pillars that you require in a business? I'm a solopreneur, for example. What are the first steps that I would think of, and when will I approach you as a service?
The first thing which any entrepreneur has to have in mind is whether he is compliant and whether he is following all the rules of the game. Some are state government rules, some are central government rules, but rules are rules, they have to be followed. And that's where, first thing is you need to have all those kind of things administratively put in place. And if you have some X number of employees or more, then you have the Provident Fund and ESI rules and all those things coming. Some are specific to some conditions being met or not met. Or till that time, you don't need to have those affecting you. So first make sure that you are aware of all the rules and you put that in place in the first place. Then you go to your market, see what's your market, find how big it is, what is the amount of market you can capture, what's the amount. That's the kind of your basic groundwork on the contours of your business going forward. And once these things are set, I think you're good to go with a, I must say, very capable kind of consultant who would help you and guide you through the entire process.
Got it. So there has to be certain level at which people have to be, or can direct entry level people come to you for your services, or is it you have to reach a particular stage and there it will be more effective, so to say?
See, guys who have done the basics would certainly be at an advantage. And for guys for people like us to be able to be more effective, there has to be both the willingness and also the ability. If you are willing and if you are going that extra step to grow, then we would be most happy. But having said that, people who are established make for a better clientele for us, because they are already set, and our motto is on growth. So when we say growth, which predetermines that you have achieved a specific stage in your life cycle.
Got it.
And you're going to grow.
Now you have to scale.
You have to scale up.
Correct.
You have to grow. That's
Correct.
the
Nice. So from a financial advisory perspective, how do you approach optimizing men, which is the human capital, and the market, which is the business environment aspects for any business?
men being the most useful and most potent asset of yours, they need to be nurtured, they need to be protected, and they need to be made to grow. If you allow that to happen, the market is yours. So first have your men properly in place, train them, guide them, and see them, because you want to have somebody like you to be working for you at all time.
So what do you do for that? I mean, do you set up some processes, or like how do you train a person? Like I want, say, one of my employee to take a leadership role or to grow. So what are these things that we have to go through?
See, in the first place, you have to identify who is going to be your next best person. Or there could be a committee of persons, there could be a multiple number of people, because each of them could be heading some role or the other functionally. So you could have a sort of board kind of thing and create that kind of atmosphere where the board becomes your team and they talk for you, they hear for you, they see for you, and they act as your extended sensory organs.
So you spoke about the men aspect of it, but are the human capital directly affected to the market?
Yeah, because functionally, one of the of your team member would be in the market, so he would be directly responsible to growing the market and finding out where things are. Okay, you would like a researcher to do the kind of back-end data, so that you go to the right places. You have to know your market size, and having done that, you are going to deploy that person who is best suited for the job. Men and market are equally responsible and equally important, rather.
Got it. So since we are at this men and market point, and from a budgeting perspective, or I wanted to talk about this. A lot of the times this happens that people overhire, like companies overhire, and then they figure out that they are burning, and then they suddenly overfire. Can you shed a little light on this? Like, why does this happen?
The main reason is enthusiasm,
Okay.
probably over enthusiasm.
Okay.
But what we need to do, what we generally tend to do is, in our anxiety to grow and in our blind faith that we will have to grow 10x in so many, and having all the pressure on you, we just tend to hire people and have more and more people. And when you hire people, then you don't know what to do with them, because there is not much business coming in for that. So it's a vicious cycle. In fact, if you want to make it a virtuous cycle, then what I would suggest is, in the beginning, you stretch yourself a bit. Make yourself enough room so that you are able to go there. And when you reach a specific stage of your target, whatever that may be, in terms of quantity or in terms of value or gross margin or profit or whatever, when you reach that particular stage, you hire the next person.
Okay.
1.25 of work will have to be done by one person, roughly.
Okay.
So keep that ratio, and eventually you will, because what happens sometimes is, a person may not, after doing all that, the person may still not be the right fit. So you may have to move him to some other function, or you may have to move him to some support function, and get somebody else. So if you have some 1.5 to 1 ratio of the work content to the number of people, it gives you some leverage to add one more person to support that kind of this thing. So when you do your budget, you do your budget in such a way that your resources are very, very optimally utilized.
Got it.
And you get that best out of those resources.
But does affect the budgeting, right? Like heavily, I'm guessing, because
yeah. So this is a bit of conservative budgeting. It stresses your team a bit in the beginning, but as you go ahead, the ratio can be 1:1 or 0.75 also. So you can still have that leverage. But in the beginning, we all know that since this is something we are starting at a venture, we need to put our heart, soul, brain, everything onto the job.
All right. So, what was the core vision behind co-founding FIMAS, and at what specific gaps did you aim to fill in the SME MSME segment of the market?
I'm glad you said co-founded
Yes.
because Vandana and I share the same kind of vision.
Okay.
We want to be partners in the growth of SMEs, MSMEs. We want to be with them, aligned to their goals and visions, and make sure that they reach that goal within the given time frame. So, one of the parts of our vision statement is we would like to be partners by choice of our clients, so that they would like us to be on board and take them through their challenges. That's what occurred to us when we co-founded. That was quite 10-15 years back. And after that, we would like to take them to greater heights.
Nice. So, among the services that you offer, which one consistently provides the most immediate and tangible impact for a typical, SME client, and why do you think that happens?
The most tangible and immediate impact is the timeliness and accuracy of the information that flows to the business owner, because most of the time he is always helped with outdated information. So something like day before yesterday's information coming in today, where he is already informed, where he already knows a lot of facts beyond that. But when the information comes too little, too late, then it becomes more of a hindrance for his growth rather than any help. So what we try to do is bridge that gap, try to make the data flow as smooth as possible, as structured as possible, and give him filtered data only to the extent he requires, and keep the detail down to the lowest, and make his life worthwhile, because that's where he is able to take decisions on the fly and make a good judgment out of the things based on the facts that are given to him.
Got it. What's one foundational financial practice every young business, according to you, regardless of size, industry, according to you, should implement from day one?
Watch your step as you're going, but when it comes to your thoughts, it can be very free. But when it comes to trickles down to words and action, be a little more measured, but make sure that your focus is right and you reach the goal where you want to reach and whatever time you want to reach in a given space. Make sure that you attain that.
Got it. In your experience, what are the primary indicators a small or medium business truly needs to invest in? Like we were talking about ERP. So, like truly needs to invest in the ERP system.
Well, actually, it depends on the stage of growth the company has reached. If the entrepreneur has met his basics in the first year or two, and now he feels he's able to take off. Like just take an example of an aircraft. Once it comes out of the once it goes up to the runway, it is slow, it is steady, it finds its feet, and it takes its way to the runway, waits there for the other aircraft to move, and maybe another aircraft to come in. But once it reaches the base of the runway, it starts putting more and more energy into its movement. And in the same way, till you move from the apron right down to the foot of the runway, you're still in your formative phase. Don't worry too much about it, but make sure that you're in the right direction. Make sure that you're going towards the runway. Don't deviate there somewhere. But once you reach the runway and once you start the takeoff, that's where you actually need to invest more into highly automated devices or highly automated machinery or whatever, so that your job becomes that much simpler and you can still take your own decisions, but this time it will be more on facts, not on hunch.
Nice. That's such a beautiful example, like, because it's so well put. Like every business starts like at one point, and then once they reach that, and that's where they fuel up and they push, give the energy. Nice, very nice. So, what's the biggest mistake businesses frequently make regarding regulatory compliances, and how does FEMAS help them navigate through these complex landscape? Because compliance is like a huge space, right? Like one mistake and probably so how does
See, what happens is the basic mistake, the basic problems, or the basic issues or concerns with the entrepreneurs is lack of knowledge and probably their hesitancy to add people of the right kind of skill, because such resources they feel it's a costly affair. But the cost of that is much less than the cost of compliance if you miss out something. So which means, you rather have good people, good automation, good systems at work, and overall a nice base on which you can start moving out. And many times the mistake is, you just simply don't invest in the right people, but you want the results to show. So in that process, you miss out something more vital. And if you are slapped with a penalty or interest or a demand of this thing, then it becomes kind of, in Hindi they say, lene ke dene ho jate hain. So then it becomes a very huge loss for them. And they set themselves back in time once again, because they have to start from that zero kind of situation. They have to not only rectify the old ones, attend to the various hearings, waste their time over there, and also try to make up for the lost time. So it becomes a triple whammy.
Correct. Wow. At what point during the compliances, as a business owner should probably say, at what stage of the business should we come to you for these regulatory checks or all of these things?
See, a lot of regulatory compliances are based on the number of people you have. So once it exceeds 20, some act becomes applicable.
Correct.
So, as and when more and more acts get into your way, I think that would be the time where you must, because in general, the basic tax laws like indirect taxes like GST or direct taxes like income tax, anyway, is a known devil right from the first day. So you can't escape that. And otherwise also many of the entrepreneurs, they have their own practicing chartered accountants to help them out. We have no issues with that. But the day, they feel that the cost of that the burden of compliance becomes a little more difficult for them to carry. That's the time we step in, because we have kind of preventive mechanisms. We have some proactive checks and balances even before the event happens. We have a kind of statutory compliances calendar, which gives you on that day, you have to do this. So 2 days before, it warns you, and so on. There are a lot of returns to be filed. There are a lot of taxes to be paid. So everything you cannot have it in one person's head. So obviously it becomes easy to put it on a calendar and make sure that you comply with them timely.
So in a business, you usually work, I'm guessing, with the finance department of a business, right? So internally also, if there is a CA, how does services of FEMAS kind of strengthen the bond of the entire finance arm and kind of uplift it? Because say I'm hiring somebody in-house, for example, I hire my own person to do my ins and accounting. Yeah. And then now I feel ki, okay, rather than investing in a team all in itself, like how will FEMAs come into the picture and kind of help my business grow in this department?
See, primarily we work with the CEOs or the business owners or the heads of
Got
the
it.
company.
Got it.
And for us, the finance team is one of those functional teams which work with us. And if it is headed by a very capable person, we are happy for it, because to that extent we can speed up the churning of the information and bringing it quickly to the table. We have a WhatsApp group in one of the customers we have, and in that WhatsApp group every morning at 9 o'clock the guy flashes one small dashboard to the entire group saying that yesterday's sale was this much, as of yesterday, whatever the cumulative sales up to yesterday, the monthly sales up to yesterday, and the so and so. And if there are 2 or 3 major categories of sales, he mentions that also. So like yesterday 2 trucks full went on a full truckload. We have a logistics company. Or there could be something very, very important and interesting, and such things can come if there is a capable person heading it. So it actually supports the entire
System.
ecosystem of the company to do things quickly, and it helps decision making to be
Faster. Got it. So now I want to ask you, how do you define a robust business model, right? From like a financial standpoint, and what are its key kind of characteristics? Like I remember once talking to you about cash flow, budgeting. So what are these like pillars from financial point of view?
See, a robust system should be resilient, it should be adaptable to change, and it should be taking its own decisions by itself rather than by outside interference. Like if you have some X, then if you already define that if X happens, do this, if X does not happen, do this. So if things are already defined that way, most of the things go into auto mode. That's one part of it. And many of the times the entrepreneurs feel that मैंने profit and loss बना के budget कर दिया तो हो गया मेरा काम. I know that I should make this much of sales. आज पिछले साल 8 CR था, this time I'll make 12 CR, grow. Okay, that's very good, because top line is good to have. But what is great to have is the bottom line, because at 8 CR if you're making say 1 crore of profit, and at 12 CR also you are making 1 CR of profit, which means there is some mismatch, some expenses have gone up, or some things in the product mix or whatever has changed, some things in geography would have changed. So whatever combination, so bottom line really becomes even more important. So bottom line is important, but what is most important is the cash line. Cash actually is the flow of blood through your blood vessels, and if anything that clogs it, particularly at the heart, if some clogging is there, you know how critical it becomes for the business. So cash lines should be something which is to be always kept robust, which kept moving. And normally as I have my usual way of saying, top line is vanity, good to have. Bottom line is sanity, great to have. But cash line is immunity. So that makes you immune from whatever risks that may come to the company, and it keeps you in good moving kind of situation all the time.
Nice. That's very well put.
So you must have.
Yes. So cash flow is kind of often cited as the king in the for SMEs. Could you elaborate why for a deep proactive management of cash flow, why is it so vital, especially for a nascent kind of a business?
In fact, cash is king.
Correct.
There is no doubt about that, because cash flow is something which every business needs to have. They need to have the right quantity of cash at the right time. So even if there is an excess cash, don't splurge it. Make sure that you stash it aside, because if you do a proper cash planning, say for example, we used to do it in our earlier days. We used to plan the cash in such a way. We know that there will be Diwali time in November so and so. In November, we must have that much extra funds to pay our employees, because that will be the time. But at that time, we are sure when the sales are down, the receipts will be correspondingly less.
Correct.
So what do? We start saving from now. Keep aside some 20 lakhs and so on till the time, and invest it also. So even that earns money, so that when the day comes, you're not disappointing your employees, because they are your greatest assets. Or there could be some contingency, some exigencies like that. For sure that on 15th of September, you have to pay your advance tax. That certain things have to be done on certain day. Some of them are annual, some of them are quarterly, some of them are monthly. But on those days, these things are going to come to you. So you need to keep your cash aside to meet such emergencies, and make a cash priority register, so that we make priorities within the cash flow. The outflows can be broken up into something like statutory payments, which are 100% to be paid on the due date to be compliant. Then we have a category called mandatory payments. Mandatory payments are slightly less than statutory payments, but they are important. Like say electricity bill,
Correct.
or mobile bills. If you don't pay, nothing happens, but your mobile will get cut. So nothing great is going to happen, but you will suffer. And the next in line will be employee payments, because they are your most valuable assets. And after that, the normal regular operating payments, and if something is still left out, you build up a reserve for some contingency at a later date. And after that, if something still remains, you can invest in fixed assets. You can make your investments. And you actually have to build your cash flow in such a way that it prioritizes the payments, so that it keeps you good on a rainy day.
Wow, nice. Never think so deeply, because we're so involved in our operations and this and that paisa aaya and then paisa gaya.
Yeah.
But nice, thanks for that insight. So when it comes to budgeting, what is the common pitfall that SMEs fall into, and what would your recommended approach to creating a realistic and effective budget be?
Entrepreneurs fall into different categories, different mindsets, because they come from specific backgrounds and so on. So some of them are very very highly optimistic. कर देंगे साहब हो जाएगा. So कैसे होगा भाई? Last 3 years you have grown at the rate of 5%, and how do you say you will now grow at 25%? So these things are common pitfalls, because they just put the numbers as a dream number and chase the number without any this thing. And fine, doesn't matter if you do it, nothing wrong about it. Put a reasonable number, but after you put the number, make sure that your resources are there to match those numbers. Because the same employee strength cannot give you a 25% increase. You have to augment somewhere or the other. You may have to augment on the direct front, like jo Maidan mein hai, like sales and people on the field. You may have to augment more of them, and maybe much less in the marketing side, because already they are heavily invested already, maybe, and even much less when it comes to functional teams like HR, accounts, admin and all that, because they don't grow because of the size.
Correct. How can an SME leverage budgeting not just as a financial control tool, but as a strategic roadmap towards growth and resource allocation?
When you do a budget, you start from the end. Begin with the end in mind.
Okay.
So when you see that your vision is something, you are going to be the most preferred company for your customers or the most preferred company for your employees or whatever. Your vision may be some
Correct.
very
Correct.
abstract thing.
Correct.
But if you come back take few steps back and see how will you do it. You must have a vision backed by a mission, and that mission gives you the quantification and the timeline. So by doing this, I will have 3,000 more employees, loyal employees, by the end of next 3 years. Maybe that could be one of the vision, because your vision was on employee front, employee by choice.
Correct.
And the retention will always be higher than 80% or 90%, vis-a-vis the industry average of 70%. Maybe that could be one of your goals. And then, or if you want to be the best, most preferred vendor to your customers, then you draw your mission accordingly. So after you do that, you come to the level of the first 3 years. Now you come. अभी ये सब करेंगे उस टाइम पे 10 साल के बाद, 5 साल के बाद इतने करेंगे, 3 साल के बाद इतने करेंगे. बट आज के दिन में वेयर आर यू? कैन यू गो टू दैट लेवल, और is there something we need to readjust? Because the end is already fixed. Now you have to work within the time frame of the intervening period. So you need to plan it that way and build up your resources also to suit that kind of vision which you had in mind. So everything is directed to the vision. Say if you want to go from here to any destination, obviously if you have some destination in mind, only then you will start from the house.
Correct.
Otherwise, it's not that you will just go to the gate and then start wondering, "Aaj kidhar jana hai?" So obviously, there is something which is having an end, and that end will be your starting point. Start with the end in mind.
What role does kind of a scenario planning have in the dynamic Indian market of SMEs? Because there can be so many scenarios, right? Like, for example, nobody envisioned COVID hitting so hard. So scenario A, scenario B, scenario C. So how do you plan for this? Like, how does it affect?
You can't plan for all the scenarios.
Correct.
Because you're not God.
Yes.
Okay. But short of God, whatever is possible, you should do some kind of contingency A, B, and C already lined up for you, because there are some things which are uncertain but may be predictable. Like, you know that this year the monsoon is going to be heavy. Or say, for example, you know that the government is going to, there is going to be an election, and we don't know which party will be coming into power in that election. So if you have such scenarios definitely coming up but uncertainty, then definitely you should make a plan B and keep that in place, because because there are certain parties which have certain preferences, and they have certain liking or dislikes for some industry or the other. So if we know that, and if we know that election is around the corner, you better have a plan B in place, because that helps a lot. But always keep the end in mind and make sure that you still reach the end without So let that, because even in the beginning you know that there is going to be an election. So obviously you are supposed to be prepared and not give excuses. Arey, is time election tha, I say hua nahi. So that's not an excuse. You plan for it proactively.
It's like a path you are probably taking, but like there'll be many hurdles, so you might have to like go around it and then continue on the same path. Nice.
I remember in 2008, where there was a kind of depression in all the world over. Nobody had foreseen that. But I was in tractors at that time. I was in one of the divisions where we had planned, this year unforeseen circumstances, and unfortunately this came up. So we now have to do 2x of the effort in the next year, so that we still keep in touch with that, keep in that target in mind, and keep that target as a fixed this thing. Because every target is a Dhruva Tara, I call it,
Yes.
a pole star. It doesn't move, it sticks there. So if you cover the distance fast, you reach there fast.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you have to make up so
For
that
it.
in that given time you must make a,
Yeah.
reach for there.
Nice. Okay, so now I want to ask you about how crucial is a partnership between a financial advisor and a business owner for a long-term financial health and the sustainable growth that you're talking about.
In fact, this partnership is very important, very critical, because it gives you the freedom to fire all cylinders. At the same time, fall back on some cushion in case there is any shortfall or whatever. Then number two, it gives you some way out to make sure the revenue is still achieved. Because if you have a good advisor in your team, your balanced up, your approach becomes more balanced, and any kind of disturbance or turbulence in the flight is taken care of, and you finally go into a smoother version. Maybe you lose, again, as I said earlier, you lose some time in it, but still you make sure that you attain that goal. So this partnership is a very, very, very
Has to be
binding.
like-
yeah.
yeah.
It has to be very binding and it should be very solid.
Got it. Nice. What common trait have you consistently observed in successful business owners who ultimately achieve financial independence? Like everybody's goal is like, yeah, my business is running, I'm here, and I'm like away from my business. So what are these steps that you think?
See, typically the characteristics are, the entrepreneur is a leader of men. He takes the team along and he makes sure each one has his own leadership style, right?
Correct.
But in his own style, he makes sure that the goals of the businesses are not under any jeopardy at any time. He makes sure that this happens and make sure that the team members are also happy for it and look forward to, typically, like, why would you like to go to office on a Monday after a weekend off? If the feeling among your team is, yes, you're enthused to go every Monday to work, you have achieved your purpose. So among most successful businessmen, that is the trait they try to bring in with. And of course, then there are other things like they make the rewards recognition scheme in such a way that it helps them keep motivated. Not only them, but also their respective teams highly motivated and charged. So if you have that kind of thing, because people are your most valuable assets, you have to nurture your people, and once that is done, not a single goal is unattainable. Let me tell you.
Okay, I want to get into a little broader spectrum now. So, what's a common misconception about achieving financial independence, right, for a business, and what in your what's your practical advice to debunk that? Because, like, sometimes you feel, okay, I've earned X amount and I have these people running, and I'm financially independent and I'm just going to do my own things. So, how do you kind of debunk that? Okay, boss, you're still not so independent as much as you think.
There is always something called uncertainty. And that uncertainty itself is something which you need to cope with and conquer. So you can't say, मेरा अभी हो गया, अब कुछ नहीं बाकी है, because you never know next minute what else will befall you. I mean, God forbid, if something happens, then you have to keep yourself prepared for it. And the second thing is, there is never an end to any good things, when you start doing it. See, really successful businessmen will never say that, because once they get into the habit, that habit becomes a lifestyle for them, and they keep doing not only this but something better than this. So it's not something which is, so this theory somewhere, it doesn't really appeal to me.
I'm sure there are many new age entrepreneurs who kind of think, okay, I want to achieve an X amount of financial independence, financial freedom. And I get to that and then I'm like, boss, like,
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
like, okay,
I know,
this is.
I know there could be, guys who say at the age of 45,
Yeah.
I hit 10 crores and I'm done. But what is the guarantee that you stay another 55 years and that 10 crore is not going to be enough?
Correct.
So that uncertainty itself becomes a reason for you to continue with what you're doing. Maybe you can stagger your pace, you can be a bit slow, but continue you must,
Yes.
because that's where it keeps your uncertainty at bay. That's where it comes from.
So beyond financial strategies, what are the non-financial wisdom that you have gained over the extensive career that you have had, and that you kind of frequently share with your, with your clients or your, partners?
See, basically, we would like all the entrepreneurs to think free. Don't have any constraints in your mind. Think, and you make sure you just imagine that you can fly. Okay. Once that is there, you have no stopping. You're unstoppable. But also keep in mind that there could be uncertainties which will try to bring you back, and keep yourself in a happy frame of mind, but at the same time not too optimistic, but be very, very keen and happy to achieve what you're going to. From a psychological point of view, this one is very important, and it has no financial implications, because if your mind is happy, then you will tread the path very easily.
Nice. My mom always says, dream big, uspe tax nahi lagta hai. At least have that, like, at least if you like aim like right here, you're gonna reach there. But at least if you aim higher, like you have, like, you'll reach at probably not where you have gone. Like, the aim is to reach there. But, so that is something that I always look up to her. So what
in fact, if you hit, these boys, I have seen just outside our house, there is a mango tree, and these boys always use that catty to hit the mango.
Yeah.
And I always try to ऊपर का mango को aim करते को नीचे वाला mango मिलेगा. And that happens because the flight of the stone actually recedes as you go up, and when you hit, it doesn't hit the mango you are intending it. But that's why when you aim, definitely aim high. That's
Higher.
true for the entrepreneurs also. You must do something more of, if you are having 100 as your target, aim for 120. You're sure to get 100.
Nice. Amazing. I would like to ask you, what is that one habit or a daily routine that you personally attribute much of your long-term success to? That this is, boss, I do this, whatever it is.
Two things. One is persistence, and second is consistency. You have to keep doing, and a little bit of pepper and salt added will be some kind of innovation. Because if you do the same thing in the same way, like Greg Chappell once famously said, if you do the same thing in the same way, you'll get the same result. But if you want to improve your results, then try to bring some difference in your approach and approach that in a slightly different way. So you still achieve the same thing, but be consistent and be persistent. That's the most important thing, which every businessman must always keep in mind.
Nice. And innovate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. Let's get into the rapid fire, and then there'll be one last question after that, which will be the closing question. So are you ready?
Yeah. Sure.
Super. So finance fundamentals, let's start with that. Profitability or cash flow?
Cash flow.
Which is king for SME? Short-term gain or long-term strategy?
Long-term strategies for sure.
Okay. Excel spreadsheets or specialized accounting software?
Well, at the base, definitely accounting software. But for presentation and making things understandable, Excel sheets always is a good aid.
Nice. Internal audit or external audit?
External audit is because it is independent, it doesn't have any bias,
Got
and therefore external audit has to be more, kind of trusted.
Got it. One financial metric every business owner should know by heart.
Return on capital employed.
What is that? If you can elaborate a little.
Okay. So what it says is what your own investment is getting back to you. What is the profit you're getting in terms of the investments which you're making?
Okay, got it. Risk taker or a conservative investor?
I would prefer a conservative investor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Delegation or hands-on approach?
Delegation for sure.
Nice. Networking events or deep work?
Deep work at the start. Networking maybe after you reach a specific stage.
Super. What's that one book you would recommend to every aspiring entrepreneur? One word that describes the mission of FIMAS.
Grow and grow together.
Nice. And finally, I would like to ask you, what is that one piece of advice that you would give the entrepreneurs?
See, entrepreneurs should think freely. There should be no holding to their thoughts. Let the thoughts flow freely. Let it go wherever they want. But keep your feet grounded. And make sure that you have the vision in mind, and that vision takes you. Make sure that you go to that vision no matter what. Be very highly focused, and that's what I would like all the young entrepreneurs to be focusing on. So that leads them to a long way.
Adding to that, I would like, since you mentioned young entrepreneurs, I would like to also ask you, have you seen any style of difference when it comes to the first gen versus the second gen? Because a lot of second gen entrepreneurs are coming into the business right now. Have you seen any difference in terms of approaches or like the growth mindset or something?
Well, the approach of the earlier set of entrepreneurs was a little more conservative, a risk-averse kind of approach. And for good reason, because they didn't have the information coming to them as fast as they would like to. Now, in this information age, there is no stopping, and hence, the new gen has actually taken advantage of that, and good for them, because that's where they can leapfrog into a higher plane straight away.
Nice. Nice. Thank you so much for all the immense value that you have provided in this podcast, and that brings us to the end of another insightful episode. Thank you so much for being here and sharing such insightful, valuable, lessons that throughout your career that you have helped so many entrepreneurs scale.
And thank you very much, Malay, for having me here.
It was an absolute honor to have you here, sir. I hope you found today's discussion on navigating the financial landscape for SMEs as valuable as I did. To all our listeners, if you're an SME or an MSME owner looking to navigate the complexities of finance, optimize your business model, or simply build a stronger financial future, the insights shared today that are goldmine. Don't just listen, take action. To make sure you don't miss out on any more future episodes like this, please do subscribe to Caliac Studios wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you want to connect directly with the expertise discussed today, make sure to follow FIMAS Advisory on Instagram. That's FIMAS, all capital letters, FIMAS. Thank you for tuning in to Caliac Studios. I'm Malay, and we'll see you next time. Bye.